According to the Federal Reserve, 57% of Americans couldn't cover a $1,000 emergency expense without going into debt or selling something. Not $10,000, not $5,000, $1,000. And right now, someone is sitting in their car after a long shift, checking their bank account, doing the math on whether they can make rent this month. And someone else has $9,800 saved. They're so close they can feel it, but they've been at $9,800 for 3 months because life keeps happening. Both of those people are normal. Both of those people are not failing. But here's what nobody tells you. The moment you cross $10,000, something shifts. Not just in your bank account, in your brain, in the decisions you make, in the opportunities you can suddenly see, in the way you carry yourself at work, in negotiations, in life. Today I'm going to show you exactly why that happens, backed by real research, real numbers, and real psychology. And then I'm going to show you the fastest legitimate path to get there, no matter where you're starting from. Why being broke feels the way it does. Before we talk about what changes at $10,000, we need to talk about what's actually happening before you get there. Because most people think the stress of having no savings is just emotional. It's not, it's neurological. Two Princeton researchers, Sendhil Mullainathan and Elder Shafir, spent years studying what financial scarcity actually does to the human brain. And what they found should change the way you think about every bad financial decision you've ever made. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, your brain enters what they call a scarcity mindset. And here's the brutal part. Scarcity doesn't just feel bad. It physically reduces your cognitive bandwidth. The mental energy you're using to track every dollar, calculate every purchase, and manage every short-term crisis is the same mental energy you need to think long-term, make good decisions, and spot opportunities. You're not making bad financial decisions because you're bad with money. You're making bad financial decisions because your brain is overloaded and running on empty. Think about the decisions that come with having under $1,000 saved. Should I go to the doctor or wait and see? Should I get the car checked or risk another week? Should I put this on the credit card or go without? These aren't just annoying decisions. Each one drains you. Each one costs you cognitive energy you can't get back. And the cruelest part of the whole system is this. The people who most need clear, long-term financial thinking are the ones least able to access it. Not because they're less intelligent. Because the weight of financial stress is sitting on their brain like a wet blanket every single hour of every single day. That is what life below $10,000 in savings actually feels like. And that is exactly what $10,000 removes. What actually changes at $10,000? So let's talk about the shift. Because $10,000 isn't a magic number because of what it buys. It's a turning point because of what it removes. It removes the fear. When you have $10,000 sitting in a high-yield savings account, and right now accounts at SoFi, Marcus, and Ally are paying between 4.5% and 5% annually, you have a buffer between you and disaster. Your transmission goes out, you handle it. You get hit with a surprise medical bill, it's covered. You lose your job, you have 2 to 3 months of breathing room to figure out your next move without panic, without payday loans, without calling family members you'd rather not call. That breathing room is everything. And here's what most people completely underestimate about it. That feeling of safety doesn't just feel nice. It has real, measurable consequences that ripple through your entire life. When you're not stressed about money, you sleep better. When you sleep better, your cognitive performance improves. When your cognitive performance improves, you do better work. When you do better work, you earn more. When you earn more, you save more. It is a genuine positive feedback loop, and $10,000 is the trigger that starts it. But there's more happening than just the stress reduction. $10,000 is the point where compound interest becomes visible. Here's a number that most people never sit with long enough. If you have $500 in savings earning 5%, you make $25 a year in interest. $25. You barely notice it. It's not motivating. It doesn't feel real. But $10,000 at that same 5% rate earns you $500 a year. That's $41 a month appearing in your account without you lifting a finger, without a shift, without a side hustle, without a raise. Your money is now doing real, visible work while you sleep. And the psychological impact of seeing that happen, of watching money generate money, changes how you think about building wealth permanently. Below $10,000, compound interest is a concept. Above $10,000, it's a feeling. And that feeling is what turns people into investors. $10,000 unlocks your 401 This one is uniquely American, and almost nobody talks about it. When you have nothing saved, the idea of locking money away in a retirement account you can't touch until you're 59 and a half is terrifying. You need that money. Something might happen. So you contribute the bare minimum, or nothing at all, and you miss out on years of tax-advantaged compounding. But once you have 10,000 as a floor, once you know that the emergencies are covered, the psychological barrier to maxing your 401 disappears. And if your employer matches contributions, every dollar you were too scared to lock away was a dollar of free money you were leaving on the table. The 401 match is the closest thing to a guaranteed 50% or 100% return that exists in the American financial system. And most people don't fully use it until they have a safety net underneath them. $10,000 means you can actually use your health insurance. This one stings. The average deductible for an employer-sponsored health plan in America right now is over $1,500 for an individual, which means if something goes wrong, a broken bone, an ER visit, a specialist, you owe $1,500 before your insurance covers a cent. When you have nothing saved, that deductible is not a deductible. It's a financial emergency. So people avoid the doctor, they wait too long. They let small health problems become expensive ones because they cannot afford to use the insurance they're already paying for every month. $10,000 means you can actually go to the doctor. That's not a financial benefit, that's a life benefit. And it's completely invisible until you're on the other side of it. What changes inside you now, here's the part that almost nobody talks about. And honestly, it might be the most important part of this entire video. $10,000 in savings doesn't just change your financial situation. It changes your identity. When you've saved $10,000 from nothing, you've proven something to yourself that no motivational video, no financial advice, no podcast episode can prove for you. You've proven that you can delay gratification, that you can say no to things that feel good today to build something that matters tomorrow, that you are someone who builds, not just someone who earns and spends. And that identity shift changes everything downstream. When you see yourself as someone who builds wealth, you stop making purchases to feel better about a financial situation that makes you feel terrible. You stop buying things you don't need to impress people you don't really care about. You start asking a different question before you spend money. Not can I afford this, but is this the best use of what I've built? That is the question that separates people who build real financial security from people who just make money their whole lives and wonder where it went. There's something else that changes, and this one surprises people. The way other people treat you shifts. Not because you're flashing money around. You're not. $10,000 isn't flash money, but confidence is visible. Financial stability, even modest financial stability, changes how you negotiate your salary, how you respond when a job doesn't treat you right, whether you take the low offer or push back, whether you stay in a situation that isn't working because you're scared, or whether you walk because you have a cushion and options. Employers sense financial desperation the same way they sense confidence. And $10,000 is the buffer that lets you negotiate like someone who doesn't desperately need the job, even when you do. The trap that stops most people now, I want to talk about the thing that keeps most people stuck below $10,000 for years, sometimes decades, even when they're earning enough to get there. It's not laziness. It's not a lack of willpower. It's the earn-spend loop. Money comes in, money goes out. Nothing changes. Repeat every 2 weeks until you're 60 and wondering where it all went. The earn-spend loop is not a character flaw. It's the default setting of modern American consumer life. Every subscription service, every buy now, pay later platform, every food delivery app, every car dealership, every single one of them is designed with billions of dollars of behavioral science behind them to make sure that the moment money lands in your account, there's somewhere for it to go. And here's the honest truth about why the loop is so hard to break. Below $10,000 in savings, spending feels like the only reward you get. Your job is stressful. Your life is expensive. The coffee, the takeout, the spontaneous purchase. These are the small moments of pleasure in a week that doesn't give you many. Cutting them feels like punishment, so you don't cut them. And the loop continues. $10,000 breaks the loop. Not because saving suddenly becomes easy, but because for the first time, watching your balance grow starts to feel better than the dopamine hit of the purchase. The number going up becomes the reward. And that psychological switch, when it flips, is genuinely hard to turn back off. How to get there faster than you think, all right. Let's get practical. Because everything I've described so far means nothing if you don't cross the line. So here's exactly how to get to $10,000, regardless of where you're starting. Step 1. Track every dollar for 30 days, not to judge yourself, to see the truth. Most people have no accurate idea where their money actually goes. They have a general sense, rent, food, car, but they've never looked at the real number. Pull your last 3 months of bank and credit card statements. Add it up by category. Every single person who does this exercise honestly finds money they didn't realize they were spending. Usually $200 to $400 a month, sometimes more. That's not money you're wasting consciously. That's money leaking through subscriptions you forgot about, delivery fees that add up invisibly, and convenience spending that happens on autopilot. You can't stop a leak you can't see. Step 2, automate your savings before you can touch the money. This is not optional. This is the foundation. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to a high-yield savings account, SoFi Marcus Ally, for the day after your paycheck hits. Even if it's $50 a week, even if it's $25. The amount matters less than the habit. Because what you're doing is rewriting the order of operations. Instead of spending everything and saving what's left, which is always nothing, you save first and spend what remains. Pay yourself first is the oldest piece of financial advice in existence because it's the only one that actually works in practice. Step 3. Find one way to close the gap faster. You can only cut expenses so far before you're cutting into your actual quality of life. At some point, the other lever, income, has to move. Ask for a raise. Pick up a weekend shift. Sell the things in your house that are sitting unused. Start the side hustle you've been thinking about for 2 years. Every extra $200 a month directed at your $10,000 goal shortens the timeline dramatically. At $200 extra a month, you reach $10,000 in about 50 months from zero. At $400 extra a month, you're there in 25 months. At $600 a month, under 17 months. The math is not complicated. The gap between your current income and your current spending, that's the variable that determines your timeline. Widen the gap by any means available. Step 4. Do not touch it. This sounds obvious. It's not. Because life will give you reasons to dip into it. The vacation you deserve. The sale that won't come around again. The thing that feels important in the moment. This account has one job. It is your floor. It is the thing that keeps every financial emergency from becoming a financial crisis. The moment you treat it as a spending account, you're back at zero, financially and psychologically. Label the account. Call it floor fund. Call it do not touch. Whatever makes it feel different from money that's available to spend. Because psychologically, that separation matters more than you'd expect. Here's the real takeaway from everything we've covered today. $10,000 is not a large amount of money. In the context of a full financial life, a house, retirement, real wealth, it's the beginning. But it's a beginning that most Americans never actually reach. Not because they can't. Because the system isn't designed to help them get there, and nobody ever explained clearly what waits on the other side. What waits on the other side is clarity, options, a brain that isn't consumed by financial anxiety and can finally start thinking long-term, a negotiating posture that comes from having options, not from desperation, a 401(k) you're not afraid to fund, a doctor's appointment you're not afraid to schedule, and a version of yourself that is proven to yourself that you build things. The hardest stretch of this journey is $0 to $10,000. That's where progress feels invisible, where the sacrifices don't seem to be paying off, where the loop is loudest and the temptation to give up is strongest. But every single deposit, no matter how small, is compressing the timeline. The math works, the psychology works. You just have to stay in the game long enough to feel it. If this hit home for you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.